We are live.
Oh, been a while since I've heard those words.
Smooth, buttery tones.
Hello, buddy.
What's going on?
We are here. I was just watching a name show. I thought we'd get some juicy gossip, but no. I guess I have to wait till tomorrow to find out what's going on with that. But we are here to recap my weekend at Skankfest. We would have done earlier in the week, but Craig had a big birthday extravaganza.
It wasn't my birthday. I was born in May.
Why did you respond like that?
I'll say like I
Let me
can't
get inside
get
the
out.
head of Craig Ironhead Acone.
Be like, last time it was grocery shopping and you didn't like that.
You don't have to tell me. Just say, hey, could we do a different... I don't care.
It's just like, I'm not blowing off the show for nothing.
Did you think I was imagining you in a party hat?
Your response was very funny though.
No one knows what I'm talking about. I said, I'll be back Tuesday night. Could we do a live stream on Wednesday? Craig replied, does it have to be Wednesday? I have a birthday dinner. Which, like, we're doing this at noon. I don't know why. Could have been any time. But Craig wanted to make sure I knew it wasn't for nothing. He was swinging a piñata last night. What made you think I'd care?
I don't fucking know. No matter what, it becomes something like this. So I guess.
have a birthday dinner.
Yeah.
Wee. And then, of course, what that is he wants me to be like, happy birthday.
That's what you thought. I was born in May, sir.
Oh, well, whatever.
We recorded on my birthday. I didn't even bring it up.
Good for you. Nor should you, by the way.
I know.
It's a rule of any human being, I think. Hello, everybody. So I am back from Skankfest, and every year we do a recap of sorts. So I'll just tell you about my weekend. There is a bunch of audio I'm hoping comes out that we can play on Sunday. There's some, particularly from Tim Dillon, is what I'm looking forward to most. I'm also curious to see stand up on the spot. Well, I'll explain that. But there is some audio that I would like to accompany my stories. But for now, we'll just go from memory. So, should I go day by day, or should I start with the best?
Day by day, build up to the best.
Well, so Thursday is the kickoff party, and there was Story Wars was the opening show, which that show seems like it's blowing up. I hope it's gonna do big things for Big J and Lewis. They're getting good guests on it consistently. It's been consistently very good. And the guests on the opening show were Dave Smith, Shane Gillis, and Bert Kreischer. So it was pretty cool. And then there are these seats reserved. Like, we got seating close to the front, and there's a row of seats in front of us that says reserved, which is unusual at Skankfest. And a group of women come and sit in front of us. And then a couple minutes into the show, the skirt leans into me and says, I think that's Leanne Kreischer. So, like, Shane Gillis comes on stage and everyone's calling him a retard, and just Leanne's joining in the chants. You know?
Well, she's just happy it wasn't directed at her husband for the first time.
Yeah, so that's the vibe of Skankfest, is just like Leanne Kreischer is sitting, laughing at her husband being called a drunken hack. So it's shit like that that's very interactive and cool. We mingled with a lot of the comics. Big J, Shane, I'll talk about those. Oh, let me talk about those now, I guess. I'm trying to think how to do this, because day by day doesn't feel as interesting. But I spoke to Big J. Some of the people watching this might be interested to know about this, because Big J came up, and he's one of the mayors of Skankfest. He walks around and everyone wants to talk to him. He goes out for smokes a lot, so he's vulnerable in those situations.
Right.
I don't talk to a lot of the comics. I don't. Maybe it's a visual thing. Maybe it's because I'm blind. I don't appreciate this stuff as much. I don't get the idea of having, like, I could tell you a story like, hey, I talked to Big J Okerson. If you say, I don't believe you, I'm like, okay, well, whatever.
Okay.
I'm not like, I have a photograph. Look I look fat right next to him. See, now do you believe? Look at me not looking at the camera next to him. Is that enough proof for you?
Mm-hmm.
But they are like, it's constant bombarding. I noticed it with Shane in particular now, where it's like it's a whole different level of constantly people wanting your attention and stuff. So I try not to do that. But Big J comes over to us and talks for a minute, and then he walks away. And I go, you know what? I got to get to the bottom of something. I said, Albert, escort me back over. Walk me back over to him. And so we walk up to him, and I go, hey, Jay, I got to ask. You a fan of the Dabbleverse?
Oh, good.
Because a few months ago, I was on Point Dabble Point, and we started getting super chats or something from a gentleman with the username Big J Okerson. And I thought, like, that's probably not him, but who would... That name has no tie. There's no reason. It's not an inside joke or anything. Like, it's just a well-known comedian. Why would you do that? So I asked him, I said, you a fan of the Dabbleverse? And he goes, oh, yeah, I'm obsessed with it. What was interesting to find out is he's interested in all the John stuff. It seemed more like he was more into watching the destruction of Kevin Brennan's career.
Oh, really?
Where he's like, it's just fascinating to watch. I'm paraphrasing, so don't quote me on any of this. But it seems like he finds it interesting to watch the destruction of a man who was once a peer of them, who is now having like Stevie Lou on and Ray DeVito just to yell at them and call them losers in hopes that people send him pennies. And I think that's what's fascinating to them. Just to tie this in, I'll get to Joe and Ari did their show that I mentioned last year. The Joe DeRosa and Ari Shaffir shit on every comedian show.
But don't tattle.
They talked about this is the only one I'll say because nothing was said. I'll talk more about that show in a minute. But I just want to tie this into Kevin Brennan. There wasn't a name they turned down. People brought up, Brendan Schaub and Matt Rife and these guys that take a beating online. They'll address them and get into it. Someone yells out, Kevin Brennan. And they just go, it's Neil's angry brother. We don't really give a shit. And move right on. That's fast. Like, that's how Kevin is viewed, as he's kind of a laughing stock. It's interesting, big fish, small pond kind of a thing, where people are like, oh, my Kevin, you hear Stuttering John be like, Kevin's the only one at my level because he has IMDb credits. And it's like, well, yeah, but all your peers look at him as a laughing stock. And so that was very interesting to get confirmation. But yeah, Big J is confirmed fan of the Dabbleverse. But
I just like, oh yeah, I'm obsessed with it.
I didn't straight up ask if he would want to come on the show or anything, but I hinted at him doing stuff. It seems like he likes lurking in the shadows. I don't think he loved the idea of going on a show and then he's a focal point. Someone breaks that down and then Kevin has to do an angry rant about it. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't seem too appealing to him. But
Kevin Brennan was in an episode of Crashing.
Was he?
Yeah, you just said his IMDb. I was like, let's see what it is.
Oh, there you go. Good for Kev.
Using that and Half Baked.
Nice. And he says Neil never did anything for him.
No kidding.
Yeah, and the other person we mingled with for a while was Shane Gillis. And this was me getting over my, I don't want to bother the guy shit. He was standing 10 feet away from us. So I was like, all right. I walk over to him. And again, every time he sees me, he embraces me with a hug. This time I was cognizant. I did not put my head on his shoulder. As some lady has called me a queer for doing in the past. Now, I want to explain this because my girlfriend claims that last time I saw Shane, I hugged him and rested my head on his shoulder. That's not true. He's a big man.
Put both your hands between his shoulder blades.
No. My head is just at his shoulder level. He's very tall. It's not what happened. But this time I did give him a whoa, easy there.
And he kissed him on the neck.
No, I didn't do any of that.
Oh, okay.
But I've started to be I think I handle these situations right. actually, like, because people say like, oh, you're too much of a pussy, you're too timid, whatever. I've actually just started to be comfortable with my decision making here because Shane's talking to me for a while, and this is kind of a cool. You're a big music guy, Craig. Have any of the bands you like become mainstream? Like, you know them when they're underground and then they get big?
No.
Thanks for playing along with me.
Yeah, Metallica, huge.
Craig knew about Metallica in the 70s.
That's right, 1981. I knew about them.
So, well, it's interesting because Shane looks at the skirt and he goes, "This guy was the first true believer." Points at me, and I go, "Yeah, that's right, bitch." You know,
He remembers.
it's like it's kind of a cool thing to have him be like, yeah, this guy like defended me before it was like a cool thing to do, and I really enjoyed that I got this in. This might be my favorite part of the week, and I forgot about it till right now, but it gives me a smile. I brought up how Clancy had him on, and I was like, but he was kind of like bashing me for defending you. He goes, "Oh, I remember." I was like, yes.
Good.
Don't you ever forget it. But then he says, hey, I'm going to pop into Dad Meet. They're on right now. Tim Butterly and Mike Rainey. He goes, you want to come in with me? And I go, yes.
This is so bizarro, Mike.
I was like, yeah. But he immediately, he goes, shit, hold on one second. You guys want a picture? He looks over like these people are just like, Shane? They're like shaking. He's like, I take it you guys want a picture? So that leads to him taking pictures for like 10 minutes. And the skirt goes, should we follow him in there? And I go, no. Behave like a human being. We're not savages. I go, just behave like a human being. If he walks away, he walks away. So he gets basically pushed into the theater, just goes in. And I say that's how human beings should behave. Like, for whatever reason, everyone wants me to go, hey, you said I could go. I look at the opposite. We had a nice 20-minute discussion. He moves on with his day, you know?
Yeah.
And then later, he came up to me. Later, I was sitting sort of near the bathrooms. We were just waiting to get into a show. And I feel a smack on my back. And it's him. And he's like, what's up, brother? You got any Zins by any chance? I go, no, I don't. But I don't imagine that'll be hard for you to find here.
See,
but
that would have been me showing my true value to the program if I was there.
Oh, Craig.
Right here, boss.
But that so we start chatting again for a while. And this, I think, is a good picture of how Skankfest is run and everything. A panicked woman comes up to us and goes, Shane, you're on. And he goes, I am? And she goes, yes. And he goes, all right. And he just walks into the theater.
Was he doing like
he was doing stand-up.
Oh, okay.
So that leads to the first surprise show, Friday night. He's like, all right, shit, I'll be right back. And he like runs out. And the lady goes to us. She goes, do you want to come in and watch Shane do stand-up? And we go, no, we're actually waiting for the secret show that's in this room right after. And she goes, don't worry about it. So we go in and watch Shane do a new story he's working on, which I think you'll enjoy very much. I won't give anything away, but something about his childhood. It was very funny. So we go in there, but like everyone's lined up for this secret show. It's not said what it is, but everyone's kind of aware it's Kill Tony. Which, by the way, you know the facts behind this, Craig. Is it crazy to say I did that?
you were partial. You called him a bum.
I think I kind of made that happen.
Did you call him a bum to his face?
No, I didn't. It was an accident the first time. I wouldn't double down on it. Yeah, if you don't know, Tony Hinchcliffe got in an Instagram argument with me based on a clip we posted where I was like, it's crazy that he refuses to do Skankfest because Kill Tony's an arena act now. That's kind of a silly reason to not give something back to the fans that have been around forever. It's actually cool to do small shows once in a while. I think it balances that stuff out, and the smaller shows are actually more interesting to listen to, blah, blah, blah. And he responded to that and was like, fuck you. These shows, you don't understand everything that needs to move.
Bum.
And so I think that I inspired him to come on Skankfest. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think that's... He had one presentation before this exchange and one after, you know?
That's true.
So we're waiting to do Skankfest, and this is a thing I don't really know where, like, I've always thought it was a bother if I say, like, I'm legally blind, may I please get some handicap seating? I was like, that's bad of me to do. I thought I was being naughty by doing that. I didn't realize there's a term for it. It's like ADA compliant or something where they legally need to do that. No one's ever told me these things.
That's good.
It took...
I'm glad blind school told you all the nitty gritty.
It took well, I'm like, I know that exists, but I always thought it was like, they don't want you to do it. Where it didn't dawn on me that they're legally obligated to, you know?
Right.
So, we get into Kill Tony a little early with all the cripples and freaks, and we're sitting there for a while, and there's another blind guy a couple seats down from me, a bunch of people in wheelchairs and stuff like that, and Tony's setting up, and you could tell there was a real difference with Tony and Jeremiah Watkins, the shows that were getting like filmed for YouTube that had like big production value and stuff. You could tell there's a difference in the way, like, they're very intricate with it. Like, Tony was doing sound checks and all kind of stuff. He was very meticulous about the pre-show, and that caused it to be delayed probably an hour. I think it started like an hour later than it was supposed to or something.
Jesus.
So we're sitting in there, waiting. We're in there before they let everyone else in the room. And I'm sitting in there with all these, like I said, blind guys next to me, handicapped people, all that. And Tony eventually looks up and he goes, "The fuck are all these people doing in here?" And a woman yells, "They're ADA." And he goes, "Jesus Christ." And then he says it on the show. He's like, before the show, there were like 30 people in here. I thought they were just sneaking in. He's like, "That's Skankfest, I guess. It's just 45 disabled people getting to the room before everyone else." It really was, like, it didn't dawn on me to laugh. It really was like just a cavalcade of cripples and blind people and whatever other horrible dysfunctions people may have that gets them in a room early. But here's the one thing my one real misfire this weekend was, like I said, we get into that room to watch Shane for 20 minutes or whatever. Then they let us stay in there. Now, we know if we leave, we're fucked. They'll eat us alive out there. If we leave and go back in, it'll be bedlam for security and everything. So I'm just like, I guess we got to stay. And they announced Kill Tony. Jim Norton and Ari Shaffir are the guests. This will be out on YouTube and everywhere eventually. So you'll get to see it. And I'll want to watch the second half of it because I saw, after Ari Maddie is when I was like, I can't handle this anymore. I have to piss. I've been holding in a piss for 3 hours now.
Oh, no.
So I had to get up and leave, and we just missed the second half. And this is supposedly what we missed. I don't know if it was at Kill Tony or in the same room right after at the Naked Roast. I believe it was the Naked Roast. But this was kind of the talk. This was the Joe DeRosa jerking off a trans woman of this year. It was the scuttlebutt of the festival that I missed. Apparently, Ari Shaffir took a bloody shit on stage to announce his Netflix special.
Is that legal?
No one really knows. To which Joe List was very funny. The next day, Joe List said, "Did you guys hear that this happened?" He goes, "I can't get an email back from Netflix." His special is coming out on Netflix.
A bloody shit.
Yeah, he took a shit. He's got terrible hemorrhoids, so it was very bloody. And when Ari explained it the next day, he said, "I wanted to prove there was literally nothing I could do to lose this audience." And he was right. So I am in a way glad I didn't subject the skirt to that, you know?
Bumpy Johnson just said, so Ari has become Gigi Allen.
I don't know enough about Gigi Allen, but I'm sure that's a good joke.
Gigi Allen was the singer of the Murder Junkies, and he would just cut himself on stage with glass, shit in it, and then throw it at the audience.
Yeah, well, what's weird about that is like Ari is funny. I think he's a great comic.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he does that stuff, but it is shock value, I guess. I think it takes away from how funny he is, but he seems to enjoy it. I guess
Wacky behavior.
Yeah. I'm skipping around a little bit, but the next day was Stand Up on the Spot that I mentioned. And the lineup for that was Dan Cummings, who did very well. Then Mark Norman comes out second. That's usually like a closer, but Norman comes out second. I think that happens too at that festival where guys are bumping around so much that they have to kind of mix and match. So Norman comes out second. The woman who has to follow Mark Normand is, her name is Morgan Murphy. I think she's somewhat known. I think she's written on a bunch of TV shows. I don't know her comedy at all. I've never really seen anyone bomb at Skankfest. This was, I didn't know, it was uncomfortable. I didn't know what I was watching, really. It was crazy. So are you familiar with Jeremiah's show, Stand Up on the Spot?
No.
It's exactly what it sounds like, where the audience just yells out topics, anything.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that.
You yell out P. Diddy, and then you have to riff on P. Diddy. You have to come up literally with jokes on the spot.
Yeah, I saw Shane did like there was like a Titanic clip or something from that show like a year or something ago.
Yeah, so Normand is perfect for it. Like that's what he does basically. So the woman who had to follow Mark Normand, she walks out, and she just goes, "I don't. Mark is really good at that stuff." I'm not skipping anything. This is what she says. These are the first words out of her mouth. Say, Mark is really good at this stuff, and I'm really not, and I don't know what to. So you guys yell stuff, and we're like, yeah. And she goes, I also have like a hearing thing, so I might not be able to hear all you guys. And so people start yelling. She's like, I literally can't hear most of what you're saying. And I thought it was like a character she was doing. I thought it was like some meta bit.
It sounds like it.
So I thought it was, and then eventually you realize it's not. Because then she tries to do it, and she's like, okay, so like she'll hear a topic and she'll be like, okay, geez, I really don't know. Like this is like Mark is really good at this, and I don't know what to do. She was like having a nervous breakdown. And then it got to the point where this is what I hope happens, because this woman was bombing and everyone was being very supportive of her. And I hope that's the story that comes out, because Skankfest and like Skankfest fans have a certain reputation where people are like, oh, they're these savages. You know, they think they're all like the character of Louis J. Gomez. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, oh, they just shouted racist things at me or something. When that's really not what it was. It was super supportive and people trying to help her dig out of this hole. And you could tell she was funny. Like, I bet she's a decent comic, because she would come up with lines every once in a while to shit on herself, and they were funny. And then the crowd is yelling out stuff like, Alba yelled out, "First dates."
Classic.
Which is essentially like half a step away from being like airplanes. Like,
right.
Just talk about something you must have a bid on already.
Right.
And so Alba gives her that safety vest, and she goes, "First dates." And she goes, "First dates? I don't know. I don't really go on like a lot of dates. I don't know." And I was like, what the fuck is happening?
I have a fucking first date bit.
Any like open micer would, I would think.
Yeah.
So it was crazy to watch. And then Jeremiah comes out and he's like, "Give it up for Morgan Murphy, everybody." And she goes, "Can I tell you what to cut out of that?" And he's like, "You can do it after." And she goes, I'll just do it now. Like, can you cut out everything of mine, please?
Are you positive it wasn't a character?
I mean, if it is, she committed to it.
Huh.
I hope it comes out on, well, I mean, I can't imagine they'll put it out on YouTube. But it was like, if it comes out on YouTube, you'll see what I'm talking about, where it's like, I'm pretty good at detecting that stuff. At a certain point, like a minute in, I was like, oh, she's doing a bit. Like Dan Cummings did a bit. He's the guy, he came out before Normand, and he did a bit where someone yelled out hot dogs, and he goes, you just say hot dogs? And the guy goes, yeah. And he goes, so you Googled that about me, or what's going on here? And the guy goes, what? He goes, obviously, you know, my parents were murdered by a hot dog salesman. Like that's very funny. I thought she was trying to do something like that. But then the more it went on, the more you were like, oh no. But anyways, people people were cheering for her, trying to. So I hope it's not a thing where like she has a story. She's like, I went to Skankfest and they made me do this show and the fans, you know what I mean? Like, I hope it's recognized how supportive everyone was. Because people tried their best.
Yeah. Asking to cut stuff on stage appears like it would be a bit.
Well, that part, she was like kidding, but also acknowledging like that she bombed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It was weird. But then, so Aaron Berg came on after that and did very well. But then Sam Talent like saved the day. It was masterful. Sam Talent came out and did maybe my favorite set, like, of any Skank. Like, I think it's because I don't know if it'll translate when it comes out on YouTube. I think he kind of had to be there for the bombing, but Sam was masterful after that. It was unreal. Like, that was a true professional, where you saw a guy drag an entire room, drag their spirits back up. It like almost made me emotional, where I was like, now this guy's got it.
It's beautiful.
It really was beautiful. So I hope that translates on YouTube, because he did an amazing job. He was so quick and funny. I thought Sam Talent was like the star of the weekend on the few shows I saw him on. He was really, he evidently did an Adderall by accident. That's what led to him being so on. So he really was great. I guess he also did, I wasn't here for this show, but I guess Sam also officiated a white trash wedding at Do Rag and the Deer Tag.
Oh, nice.
So I assume that'll be out as well, where I guess he wrote a speech that he essentially wrote to his wife, but he was giving it to these two people, and I guess it actually got him emotional while he was delivering it.
So it was just very real.
Yes. So it is like, it's hard to describe to people that haven't been there. If you're a comedy fan, stand-up fan, a fan of like the type of podcasts that are there, I definitely recommend going, because it is a couple good descriptions I heard of it. Where like someone said like, this is my Disney World, basically. Or like I said, I'm just walking up to Shane Gillis and Big J, and people are walking up to them and taking pictures. Norman's just walking around with comedy. There was that you'll enjoy this one. I saw DeRosa walking to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
he hit a folks in the wild.
I don't know the context I missed, but there's just a guy trailing him, where the guy goes, I'm just saying, man, like, I really wish you brought the podcast back. Talking about Taste Buds, I assume.
Oh, is that gone?
Yeah, they stopped doing it over the summer.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a good show. So it is sad they stopped doing it. And this guy goes, yeah, I don't know, man. I just really wish you kept doing that podcast. And DeRosa goes, I'm sorry. And keeps walking. It was like seeing Larry David out in the wild. It was but you get to see all these like these comics that you follow. Another person said, like, this is what I've always tried to instill in people, because we get comments sometimes where it's like, wow, look at these guys obsessing over other shows more successful than them or whatever. And someone was like, no, man, like, this is my sports. Like, I follow this stuff the way other people follow the Celtics or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like every time I do a show with Casey Day, he starts talking to me about the Oregon Ducks, which I personally don't give a fuck about, but that's me with this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
Right.
I follow a different thing than most of you.
He tagged us in like some Christian Gonzalez like highlight video the other day.
Yeah, he thinks I get like mad at that or something. I like Christian Gonzalez.
No, I think he was mad because we pointed out he got smoked on whatever we were broadcasting during one of the games.
Yeah.
We got a couple super chats here.
All right.
I come buckets, $2, $2 entry fee for the stream.
Oh, thank you, buddy. I haven't seen I Come Buckets in a while.
I haven't either.
Good to have you back.
He was on the Discord and then he just left.
Well, good to have you back, buddy.
Shades Cal, $2. Can you comment on the crowd and meeting people?
Oh yeah, there were some people that came up and complimented Why You Laughing and all that stuff. Dabbleverse people, Minifans. Good to see everyone. Everyone's very cool. There's a it's always interesting too when like you hear names where like a lady came up to me and was like, I'm Amanda 5x5. And I'm like, oh, I know you. You know what I mean? Like, that's always a weird thing. It's even more weird. It's weird at like Minifan events and stuff where you kind of expect that. It's even more weird just out in the wild when it's someone like, hey, I'm this bizarre name that you actually probably know, you know?
I'm principled uncertainty.
Yeah. But people were very cool. The one thing I did get is I got a message from someone the other day going, hey, can you tell them the Chris DiStefano episode of Story Wars isn't up yet? I go, what?
What?
Tell who? Like, you want me to just yell it out? And then it dawned on me, they still think I'm the other blind Mike. I was like, God damn it. I can't shake this guy. I was first.
Amando Lynn Nappy, $10. The boys are back. I love the show, especially when it's you two.
Well, thank you, buddy. I think we will be back Sunday. I guess me and Casey Day, because Craig hates the show now.
I have I don't know, the kids every other weekend.
More birthdays?
No birthdays. Just have children.
Boo-hoo. Like we don't have kids.
Poodlerific, $2. Thank you for the video that introduced me to Ron and Fez.
Oh, well, thank you for watching it, buddy. Oh, one more thing about interacting with fans. I thought this was funny. Someone came up to me and he goes, he's talking to me and Alba. And you know, have you ever been in a conversation where someone's talking, like let's say someone was talking to your wife, but they're looking at both of you, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like they're just being respectful to both of you. So he's kind of like looking back and forth at me and Alba, and he's like, yeah, man, like there's, I really love this one episode of Why You Laughing, blah, blah, blah. But he's looking at Alba as he says it, and she goes, oh, thank you so much. I go, bitch.
That's very funny.
What do you mean, thank you?
That's so funny. I come buckets, $2 more. I was broke, but now I'm, quote, whatnot, end quote, rich.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Glad you're doing better. I come buckets. Thank you, buddy.
That's all the super chats for now.
I almost forgot this interaction, too. This reminded me of it, where I hear Annie Letterman out talking to people and making her way around the crowd. Again, I don't just really go up to people, but I heard her kind of in the same vicinity as me. And me and Alba are sitting waiting to get in another show. And Alba gets up to use the bathroom. So I'm just sitting there like on my phone or whatever. And I hear Annie Letterman say something, and I'm not really paying attention. And then I just hear her go, are you totally blind? And I'm like, well, that seems directed at me. So I look up and I go, oh shit, I'm sorry. And she starts she's just randomly starts asking me about my disability. And I was like, oh yeah, well, it's gotten worse over time, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh wow, okay. So she starts asking me more questions, starts asking me about the show and everything. And then she's like, was that your girlfriend? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she just leaves.
Oh, she's into you.
I don't think so. But then so hold on. I would say definitely not. But then we get in. So the next day, we get into another show, And we're in there early, like I said, so no one else is really in there. And Annie Letterman's walking around. And she's like, oh, why are there people in here early? And I go, because of me. And she looks up and she's like, oh, hey. And then did this thing where she like hit my knee.
Mike.
So Alba goes, like so we talk for a minute and then she walks away and Alba goes, were you trying to like spit game with her? And I go, no. And she goes, you kind of were. And I go, shut up, bitch. Don't ruin this for me.
She's blatantly hitting on you.
No. I think she was being very friendly, but that was, and it's also interesting there because you want to be like, just so you, if you ever like find anything, I made fun of Trash Tuesday, but mostly because of Craile, just so you know.
Yeah.
I like you. I think you're funny.
Blame me. I hate Craile so much.
Joe List points that out every year where he's like, it's always very cool to be here. And then you remember, I mean, minimum one of these people has called you a cuck, hack, piece of shit on Reddit. It's like those people are definitely here.
Right.
Which is like, you can kind of tell, like everyone there is super nice. Like all the fans are very cool. And I always worry, again, being blind, whether it's, bumping into people or getting to cut lines, shit like that. I always worry people are going to be like dicks about it or like I'm annoying them. Everyone there is super cool. It reminds me a lot of a Minifan event where people have a certain reputation online. Like people characterize them a certain way. When you meet them, sweet as pie. Couldn't be any nicer, more accommodating, all that stuff. So it is like, I forgot where I was going with this, but it is.
Your mind's just on Annie.
Shut up.
I come buckets for $2. You should have asked her to walk you to your truck.
I think it would have been much more a fool's errand.
No, she's not into me. She then rubbed my knee.
That's not. I mischaracterized that. That's not. That's not. I oversold that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Leading up to that, she found out I had a girlfriend and walked away.
That's not. Again, I may have. I oversold all of this. That's how I built it up in my head. It didn't really happen like that.
One in the chat if Annie wants to fug Mike.
Oh, so that the Joe and Ari show, which they called the most popular unrecorded podcast, which I think is a good tagline for it. They do it once a year at Skankfest. If you didn't hear me talk about it last year, it's very simple. Joe DeRosa and Ari Shaffir sit on stage. Everyone puts their hands up that wants to suggest a name. They call on you, and you just say, Tom Segura. And they're like, well, here's what I fucking hate about Tom. And I won't add it. Now, their rule is basically don't film it. Like, they locked up the phones this year. They said, don't be dicks about it, and as long as this doesn't ruin our lives, we'll keep doing it. So I'm not going to give anything away. If you ever see me out in the wild, maybe I'll give you a little taste. And here's a rule I came up with, I think, for the show. I'll never say what Joe DeRosa and Ari said on the show. But what I will say when certain things come up on this program...
Super chats.
I will say a friend of mine told me this about... Like, just for instance, and this didn't happen there, of course, just hypothetically, something I might say is like a friend of mine told me that Brendan Schaub is a climber who's only nice to people he thinks can do something for him in the business. You see, like something like that is what I would say if I was giving a real thing away. That's a fake thing I just made up, you know? But they get very real in that. Except for the one thing that was funny, and I think again it perfectly characterizes where he is in the business, is the one name when it was mentioned was Kevin Brennan, where they were like, I don't really have anything to say. Like, he's whatever. You know, he's like so insignificant that they didn't really even think to comment about him. But they got very real about a lot of people, and it's a good dynamic too because DeRosa's angle on that is just like roasting people, basically. Like, you can tell he's doing it sort of like Rickles, where he's like he's roasting them and saying the things that the ball busty things that he would say if they were there, probably.
And Ari's just
maybe just a little meaner. Whereas you can tell there are people that Ari has a legitimate hatred for.
right.
Like Ari has people. If you Ari's the one you get like real information from, and you're like, holy shit. I will give you one tease. Like one thing, and this is just part of what he said. You could assume what the rest of the sentence was. A certain comedian released a live special recently, and Ari said, "I'll tell you the thing about that special is I really wanted to enjoy it." So that's as much as I'll give away because I want the show to happen every year. But yeah, if you see me out in the wild, maybe I'll give you snippets of some interesting things. One, Craig, that we talked about last year.
Yep.
Even more was done to ruin this reputation for me. It's crazy. More was added to the story. So there's like now storylines that we've followed through the years.
Like a big name. Damn it.
I know. Disappointing.
That is disappointing.
Yeah.
Shades Cal, $5. Someone I know went and said the crowd was mostly industry people. Your thoughts?
No, it wasn't. I think that person was fucking with you.
Matthew Rowley, $5. Hell yeah, I finally get to give Mike some money without him having to split it with that crippled loser he does his other shows with.
That's true, yeah. If you want to avoid, if you like Who Are These Socials, but want to avoid giving Carl money, come here. Here I split my money with YouTube. It's a nice deal we've got worked out.
Yeah.
All right, trying to think what else. Saw Joe List's movie with Tom Dustin. He made a documentary about Tom Dustin that was very good. We got to see the screening for that. And that's the thing again, like where you pay. I think this year the ticket was $400 for the weekend.
Oh, I was like, what, for the fucking movie?
No, that'd be crazy. No, that's the thing is like Netflix is a joke festival. I think you pay for like each show you want to go to, right? Unless I'm mistaken, like if you want to see Dave Chappelle at the Hollywood Bowl, you buy a ticket to see Dave Chappelle.
Probably because it's such a giant scale.
Right. With Skankfest, it's like you pay a ticket, you're in one venue for the whole weekend, you're not running all over the city to 40 different places. And so like it racks up a bunch of different bills if you want to see, 6 or 7 different shows, but also you got to run around town and plan them so that you can get from one to the next one, depending on the scheduling and all that. Skankfest, you're all in one place and you're mingling with the comics. Like the lineup the first night, so they did after Story Wars the first night. Oh, that's another story I got to get to in a second. But after Story Wars the first night, they do stand-up. And the lineup was like, I don't really give a fuck about this guy, but Sam Hyde, are you a fan of his?
No.
Oh, really? I feel like you would be.
I'm not familiar.
Oh, okay. Everyone tells me I got to check him out. I can tell that he's funny, but there's an element of like, if he's stuck to, it seems like he's trying to do a character, like an over-the-top character, where like the glimpses of his real personality come out, and that's what I find funny about him. But maybe I just don't get it. Enough people find him funny. A lot of people recommend him like for a Why You Laughing episode or something. They're like, you got to cover Sam Hyde. I just don't really get it with him. So if there's something you can point to that'll maybe make me like him. But he is a big name.
Yeah.
So it's like Sam Hyde, Kim Congdon, Kurt Metzger, Dan St. Germain, Shane Gillis, Ari Shaffir. Like this is a lineup that you would pay good money to see. And that's just night one for the VIPs after another live podcast,
Yeah.
So the amount that you're paying for the weekend is nothing when you consider the amount of show. Like I saw Stuff Island live. Tim Dillon was on Real Ass Podcast. We saw that live, which I want to get to because Tim and Lewis went on a very funny rant about Tony Hinchcliffe, which I'm hoping that comes out tonight so we can have the clips for Sunday because that was very funny. But the other thing is Nate Bargatze showed up. So Bargatze did the second episode of Story Wars that they did on Saturday, and then Ari Shaffir did his storytelling show, formerly known as This Is Not Happening. He did that, and Joe List comes out, and Joe's telling this story that like it seems like he's going to go into the shitting in the shoe story. Which I'm like, oh, that's weird because on this show you're supposed to tell a story the audience hasn't heard before. Everyone here has heard that.
Right.
But Joe List goes, and to tell this story, he goes, I've told this story before, but I've never told it with this guy, ladies and gentlemen, Nate Bargatze. And Nate was there for it. So he added to the story, and that was great. And then Ari comes on and goes, all right, now obviously you have to tell your own story. And Nate crushed with a story that I'm assuming is going on his new special. And it's like just to see guys like that pop in and do 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty crazy to get to watch for essentially like nothing that you're paying, you know?
Yeah. Sam Bibley, this isn't a super chat.
Oh, God.
Says the biggest names on Skankfest are the reasons I would never go. Tony Hinchcliffe, Ari Shaffir. Why don't I just stay home, put on JRE while I eat dog shit?
Well, I like those guys. So, yeah, I guess if you don't like them, then it's not for you. But
Right.
What's cool about it, too, is like when I started going, they would try and book people like Jim Gaffigan and Artie Lang and people that were like draws outside of themselves. Now the guys that are the draws are the guys the festival started with that I wanted to see originally anyways. You know, Mark Norman, Shane Gillis, Tim Dillon, Ari Shaffir, Joe List, Sam Talent, all these people. You know, like that's the cool thing about it is you've watched these guys grow into major acts. But I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed. I'm sure there is. Doug Stanhope was back, and Stanhope wrestled Yamanika Saunders.
Why?
Do you remember we talked about this in the Doug Stanhope episode of Why Are You Laughing? The beef that he had on the bonfire with Yamanika?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, so Yamanika was on the bonfire and Stanhope was there and he was drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And he made some comment. They were talking about, I don't know, they were talking something to do with consent or something. And Stanhope asked Yamanika, have you ever had sex with a man who has regretted it later? And she said no. And he goes, well, then you're not aware. And she did not take that comment well. There was a whole thing. We talked about it in Why Are You Laughing? Craig's never seen the episode, but you guys might enjoy it. So it's been, I guess it's been a beef. Like, I guess she never liked him after that. There was some beef. And so Stanhope wrestled her in the ring that they had outside and ended up like making out with her. Apparently, he also he was on Are You Garbage today, and I heard him telling the story that apparently he also pissed his pants during Skankfest at some point. So he's doing well.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Come on, dog.
It is. It was funny too. Ari introduced, like, because you're always kind of expecting a surprise at certain shows, and Ari introduced. He's like, this guy has done so much for my comedy career. He's my brother. He helped me out when I had nothing, blah, blah. And the crowd collectively were kind of like, oh, shit, Rogan's here. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Hinchcliffe. I thought it was very funny to elevate Hinchcliffe to that for no reason.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, and the third secret show, there were 3 this year. The third was Bumping Mics with Jeff Ross and Dave Attell.
Oh, man, I fucking hate that show.
Why?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like Attell can ever get into his groove on that show.
Oh, see, well, I mean, I don't remember the show that well, but like at least in this version, he was very funny because they played it like they were an old timey comedy duo, and I thought Attell did very well. Attell was kind of like when Norm was on Conan and was doing almost like a vaudeville act. Like, I thought that was kind of the angle Attell went with. And I thought it was pretty good, but it's the first time they've done that in a while, so that was also a cool show to go to. It's interesting. Oh, some of the people online you see are like Craig, where they're like, "Oh, this fucking sucks," and they weren't even there. You know?
No, I didn't say that specific show. I've just never really enjoyed bumping mics.
Interesting. Oh, so this was from the Joe and Ari shit on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the bathroom right after, and one of the people they shit on was Josh Adam Myers,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess Josh was in the crowd, and so that's why someone yelled out his name. And it was so funny because I walk into the bathroom, and he has a very distinctive voice, and I just hear, "No, man, I loved it. They're right. I do need to write more jokes."
I guess you can talk about that one because they said it to his face.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the first name someone yelled out was Lewis, and I guess Lewis was standing in the corner, and they just laid into him. And then Lewis waited until they were done talking about him and left.
That's all he's got to.
He was just documenting. Yeah. I don't know. Any questions? I think I've touched on everything that I can think of, at least.
I come buckets for $2. Bumping mics was blind Mike bumping into mics.
Yes, yeah. I bumped into Mike Cannon, Mike Rainey.
I had to read that.
I'm trying to think of anything I missed before we get out of here, but I guess if I do, I'll get to it on Sunday. Like I said, there's a Tim Dillon thing I want to talk about, but I think the video is going to come out, so I'll wait for Sunday for that. We will be on Sunday with Casey Day joining me because Craig has better things to do.
Yeah.
I was told to look out for David Collins' 30-minute half-hour show shirts, and I told the skirt to keep her eyes open as well. I didn't see any.
He's in the chat, or he was, like this whole time. Maybe
I didn't see any, unfortunately. I did say, David told me to keep an eye out for them, and I said, "Oh, you should have given me one. You should have sent me one. I would have worn it, or I would have bought it if I knew they were for sale." And he goes, "Well, you can't say I didn't make my best effort to get it to you."
All he said in the chat was, "That's too bad."
To what?
I don't know.
Oh, the shirts.
Yeah.
Well, he roasted me pretty good. I could tell he's still angry with me about not seeing him on the
Not
4th of
seeing him
July.
with the 4th of July. Nothing's going on then.
We also had there was a medical issue that it was a whole thing, David. It wasn't my doing. I apologize. Yeah, trying to think of anything else.
I can't wait to hear this hot goss once this is done recording.
Oh yeah. If you, I will. I'll give you some juicy tidbits if you ever see me out in the wild. But I can't ruin the show here. You know, you got to go to Skankfest to really hear it on a microphone.
David says we were there for 4 days. I don't hold a grudge though.
Seems like he does.
I was there for one night. I had my kids, and then I went away to a different state.
He also, I don't think he was here for 4 days. I think that's a lie. But
I think he was.
I think he counts being in Rochester as here.
Oh, that's not even close. Not even close.
I don't know. Sorry, David. I apologize. David, you're welcome on Sunday also. I invited him on today. He's also welcome on Sunday if he wants, but I know he's outgrowing us. You know,
He hates us now.
spreading his wings.
Yeah.
Anything else? I'm definitely missing something. Legion of Skanks, the rap battle versus Jay versus Lewis was pretty good. Lewis had a good line about Jay's daughter sucking black cock. That was fun. Did not see the rattlesnake. Usually the rattlesnake pays tribute. Not this year.
Like throwing your cane.
Yeah. You know, fun stuff like that.
Northwest Ken says, "My bad trying to fist bump Mike 2 years in a row."
Oh, is that you? Oh, I did meet Northwest Ken. Yeah, I recognize the name. It's all good, buddy. That one I don't feel bad about anymore. I used to be like, oh, God. Now that I have the cane, I don't feel guilty for missing someone's handshake.
Yeah, it's on them now.
It's on them at this point. So Northwest Ken, don't worry about me.
Dismas 10 Rons. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Oh, how did I forget? Sorry, read that, and then I've got a good story for you.
How did you read my super chat, Mike? You can continue. That was
Damn it. Sorry I paused for that. Guy, damn. I wish I could remember his name. Northwest Ken, if this was you, I apologize. I can't remember who this was. I can't remember the gentleman's name. But we're in bumping mics, and they packed as many people in as they could. So we're in like sort of the front row. There's another section of seating they filled in ahead of us, but like there's an aisle between us. So they pack people in to like sit on the ground if they want, or stand on the sides, whatever. Guy sits in front of me who happens to know the show, and he goes, I gotta be honest with you, man. I'm a huge Craile-ophile.
He said it. He whispered it.
You could tell he was embarrassed. Yeah. And I said, "Oh, come on, don't tell me that." And he goes, "Hey, buddy, I know you don't want. We gotta cheers to Craig." Yeah, here's to Craig. I was gonna tweet out that the last thing I remember last night is a man cheersing me as he said he was a Craile-ophile, and I woke up in my hotel room. But yes, the Craile-ophiles were out there.
That's funny.
And I will say the Daylords as well. I believe someone told me they were a Daylord. So,
Straight Carl, DKK 50. Don't know what that is either. Is David Collins angry at Mike for not seeing him? Has he not been paying attention? That's
true. David, you got to consider that, buddy. You know? The fine people of Skankfest understood. I'm a Craile-ophile. Ooh, that burned me up.
It's working.
Literally, this is not a joke or an exaggeration. Literally, that guy passed me weed, and I burnt my thumb on the lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And quite literally, that didn't burn me up as much as hearing Craig's name.
That's very funny.
Just the idea, not even so much identifying with Craig, identifying as a Craile-ophile. I feel guilty that I've done that in some way.
Not interested in Craig's freak offs anymore. Fuck up, Prairie Judge.
I agree with that, buddy. Yeah, that's probably what he's doing on Sundays. Now that Diddy's out of the picture.
I'll be there the Sunday after that.
Oh, yay! Something we can all look forward to. Well, the Sunday after that, I won't be around. So
that Friday then.
This, I should say that we're back Sunday with Casey Day. Then after that, after next week, it's over. No more traveling. No more goddamn weddings or bachelor parties or any of this. It's over, baby. I'm here for the winter. I'm hibernating.
I probably have some stuff I have to check.
Who needs you? We got Casey Day. We got you. We'll figure it out.
That's true.
But I'm just saying, from my perspective, the next week is the last week of weddings. I have a rehearsal dinner. Listen to this. Wednesday. And then as if to say, we truly don't care about you. Wednesday at 4:30
is the
rehearsal dinner.
It's supposed to be the night before.
Oh, it is.
The wedding's Thursday?
It certainly is.
Oh, what time?
I don't know.
4:30 on a Wednesday.
Yeah. And then the wedding on a Thursday. And then we have to go straight from there to New Jersey for another wedding.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. So, Skankfest was a nice relief. We get this weekend off, you know?
Yeah.
Back to weddings. And then I'm done with weddings. No more weddings. You hear that, bitch? We'll call Annie Letterman.
She'd probably go with you. She's probably on her way.
I think she was there with her boyfriend. So
I got to be honest. I don't think she cares.
Well, you know, as a great man once said, I can't read a room. So who knows?
That's true.
All right. Anything else from you or the chat or anyone before we get out of here?
I come buckets $2. I'm a Craile-ophile because he's racist, not the kid stuff.
That is what he meant. Yeah, no, that's definitely what he meant. But
I'm neither of those.
All Should we get out of here and see everyone on Sunday?
Let's get out of here.
All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by. If I think of anything, I'll tell you on Sunday. Until then, go to blindmike.net. The Martin Mull episode of Why You Laughing is up right now, so you can go check that out when you're done with this. Wherever you get podcasts, particularly YouTube, if you want to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. We appreciate you guys interacting with the show. What's the status of verygoodshow.org?
I don't fucking know. We'll be back probably November sometime.
nice. You know, those podcasts, their website goes down for a solid 2 months. And then they're always back right to normal.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So, guys, keep an eye out. All you Craigophiles out there, which now, unfortunately, I know you exist. Now, if you thought I didn't live with anxiety before, now my head is really on a swivel. So you Craigophiles out there, keep an eye on Craig. But go to HackRideTheDemon.com, support Casey Day and DJ Electra and all our friends here. Go check out David Collins. David Collins is back. I think we'll be talking about that this weekend because I've heard some unsettling news. Are you aware of this, Craig?
What's that?
I hear Jerry is gone.
Oh, no.
I know.
That can't be true.
I don't know. I'm going to listen when we're done here, so I'll find out. But either way, we'll talk to you guys Sunday at 10 a.m. We appreciate you guys checking out the show, and we'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.
And we have a mean transition.
Hey, it's Boogie.
Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.
Now, this is very interesting. Now, really, ladies, if you listen in, and men, and everybody in between.
If I tell you you've got a homicide, buddy, you've got a homicide.
I hope to hear from you soon.
I am proud to own the Trumpy bear, and I will always be proud to be an American.
Until then, have yourself a great day, and as always,
There's no cum on my mic.
rock on.
Stop the baloney, huh? What kind of statement is that?
I wrote it. One of my favorite players to cover when he was here was Mike Vrabel. Tell me Mike Vrabel's story.
Whatever, dude. I keep it cool at the gym.
Piss on it.
Fuck you, Mike. Fuck you, Mike. Fuck you, Mike.
All right. Stop, my belly hurts.
My dad was in the military.
What's that, sir?
Can you please kindly F off, please?
If a person is on a bridge threatening to jump, how do we know that he wants help?
Money, 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 money. Fuck, please.
Anyway, God bless America.